Welcome back. This is Wisconsin Shoe Guy, and today we're going to talk about boots, and specifically this pair of Balway boots from Enzo Bonafe. This is my first in the boot reviews of 2021, and this is the boot that started it all with my obsession with the field boot. Now, the field boot is where it has one panel with this single panel at the base here, a panel for the shaft. In this case, it's a different material. This is a hatch grain shell cordovan. This is just plain. These are both in number 4. They have either a cap toe or a foul cap. And in this case, it has a half sole with a double here and a single here. Pretty exciting, 4 and 4, this with brass, 4 eyelets, 4 speed hooks. I have some that have varying combinations, but we'll get into that. Now, this is in this beautiful number 4 Horween shell cordovan, which just has so much color and color variation in it that it really does appeal to the eye. My friend David, who's better known as Shelvage, turned me on to these boots when he got his, probably almost 2 years before me. And I've kind of become obsessed with the design. Now, these are my only ones from Enzo Bonafe, but they are not the only ones that I will have down the road. I will look at another pair. I'm in a bunch of groups of guys that tend to look at these, and there are definitely some interesting things going on. And so I'm open to looking at new ones. Now, I did not have toe plates put on these, but I did. But they have been worn quite a bit, and I am exceptionally happy with them. I feel like this particular boot, they have these beautiful boot trees in them, which are great too. The only thing that would be better is if they were unlined. But with shell cordovan, unlined doesn't necessarily mean anything, which you'll see when I talk about a Meerman pair in the same style. So, first, let's talk about quality of leather, right? The leather on these is absolutely exquisite. It does require some care. I've been working with either with Pure Polish or with the Saphir Cordovan Cream to try to build them up. I get a little bit of water spotting here, which I need to really work on. But I love the color variation, so I'm trying to be very cautious not to do anything that's going to mess that up. And of course, you can see that the grain has a little bit of a different color than the smooth, and I love that contrast. I feel like it's just super, super sharp. When we talk about fit, now this is one that I had this in a standard 9.5 F, and this one in a 9.5 F with a feather over my right toe. And that seems to be really successful for me, and I've done that a couple times more with Enzo, and really happy with it. This is this particular last. What I like about this last is I had another shoe in this last, and the toes were not, the sides were not as sharp as this. And I really like the way that this one came out. And I've gotten a couple of other ones in this last since, and they also came out quite as nice. So really, really good job there. Now, the toe iron here is significant, right? I mean, that's a pretty wide one. Not as wide as if they do a Norvegese stitch, but it is very wide, and so that's something that you have to be comfortable with. I prefer it to be more tapered in, but I know that that's a choice that a lot of people make. And when you have the hand welting, they need room to do it, and of course you can't see fudging if the fudging is too small either. So it is a give and take, something that you want to do. I spent a lot of time going back and forth on whether I really like brass or whether I'd prefer this to be like an antique brass or a silver. In general, I prefer silver, but I've come to that conclusion after owning several of these. And so that's a piece there from the extras. I would prefer, a higher quality waist on these, and more of a fiddleback waist. I've done a bunch of different things with waists on these MTOs. There are a lot of options that you can do. In terms of wear, aside from the spotting, which is really a care issue, I think the wear is perfect, right? They're holding up really well. The creasing or the rolling in this case is performing exactly as I expect, exactly where I expect. And I just feel really comfortable with the shoes. Now, a lot of guys have said, wow, that's really excessive. What the heck? Not really, not the way it fits my feet. And I know a lot of guys might prefer a less than that, but for me, for a non-bespoke shoe, I really think that that's about as good as I'm going to get, and that does not bother me at all. Now, it can look different when I'm wearing it because, you know, obviously it's not in a tree, but I don't find that to be excessive, and so I think that that's just fine for me. Shoes are made to be worn, to quote our dear friends at Crockett and Jones, and I believe that that type of wear is consistent with what I expect over, you know, the 8 months that I've owned them. So this is my first take on these beautiful boots after my first group of wears. I'll report back on them as I continue to wear them. I do a lot of this on the edge because I hold my foot up like that, mostly when I'm taking pics of my heel. And so that's on me for not doing the edging, but that is not a problem with the boot. Last, before I let you go, I just want to show off these trees because they are exceptional, and my first pair of boot trees like this. So now you can get 3-piece trees for these, and I've got my first pair of 3-piece trees coming from another maker, but I wanted to show this boot tree because basically it's just like the shoe tree. Now the shoe trees for Enzo, sometimes they have this piece that goes over here, which actually makes them really, really tight. In this case, it has the spring with the brass barrel, which is fine. But this part here with this very large elongated height for the tail, as it were, perfectly toned to the shape of the boot. As you can see there. It's just a really, really good fit and a great way to do a boot tree. So very happy with those as well. So that's my thoughts on these boots. Why don't you leave your comments and what you think in the notes and comments below. Thanks much.